Hello and welcome to Culture Corner 2024. I am Winsome Sherry Witter, and it's always a pleasure to host these amazing sessions as we learn more about our culture in the different aspects. And of course, it's a new month. It's the month of February. It is Black History Month, and it is also Reggae Month here in Jamaica. Welcome to those of you who are tuning in for the first time. Let's thank JCDC for this partnership, awesome partnership where we get to showcase the awesome things that's going on culturally across Jamaica, not just in Jamaica, but across the diaspora, because we have had guests from the diaspora joining us who have been a part of the competitions at the JCDC. Thank you for those of you who are returning. We took a break in January to relive the moments from 2023, but we are back with the live episodes and we are kicking things off with a discussion on reggae rhythms, the evolution of reggae music. We need to get an understanding and appreciation of the different elements of our culture so that we can continue to shape the future as we move forward. And joining me tonight, we have two awesome individuals here. We have Herbie Miller, the director and curator at the Jamaica Music Museum, a treasure trove of Jamaican music. And I can't wait to hear what Sir Miller has to share with us about reggae, where we are and where we're heading, and what the Jamaica Music Museum is doing in the mix of that. And then we're going to be having with us Owayne Av&nte McCaulsky, joining us to share with us his journey at the JCDC Festival Song competition in 2023, a little bit more about him, how all of what he's doing ties into reggae music, and what we can expect from Av&nte going forward in terms of the preservation of reggae. So let's get the show started. Let's bring on Herbie Miller. Sir Miller.
Hey, Winsome, how are you?
I am doing great, and it is so awesome to have you here sharing virtual space with us. And remember, we keep it interactive in here for the SRC community that's coming back, that's been journeying with us. Remember, you share if you have questions. Go ahead and ask your questions as we have the discussion here and share your thoughts. You can start by sharing your favorite reggae icon. Let's all hear it. I know that a lot of us, today is also Dennis Brown's birthday, right? Yes, amazing stuff. When I was checking today, I realized that. But let's get started from the roots. Let's take it all the way back. How did reggae all get started and how has it evolved since then?
So I guess you're addressing me now. I take
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
I tend to position our music alongside our wider history, our deeper history and wider culture. So to get to reggae, we should step back and say, how did we get here? And how did everything that informs our present conditions influence us to be here? Um, we'll start with, say, plantation music. And reggae always has this sort of mood of resistance and uplift, positivity, and a cry for liberation, for freedom. And you can connect that to the yearning, the resistance of our foreparents on plantations, working and fighting to free themselves from enslavement. And if you follow that line, you'll find offsprings to do with lullabies, children's songs, ring games, secular and religious music, ritual music, and you find all of that in reggae music because you have those sensuous songs, those sexy songs, juxtaposed with these conscious, revolutionary songs. You have just some sweet little ditties like the Three Little Birds. That's just singing about three little birds in that real catchy, melodic way. And then you have songs like Stand Up for Your Rights. That would be what the more militant among the enslaved population would sing. So if you make those kinds of connections, you'll see that we started out swinging, we started out singing, we started about using the music for every single aspect of life.
Fantastic. So it's a part of our culture, but we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But let's back up a bit and share with us the Jamaica Music Museum. I've heard about it. Not so sure how many members of the community know that there's a Jamaica Music Museum. So let's talk a little bit about your institution, Jamaica Music Museum, and how your organization is working to showcase what takes place there at Jamaica Music Museum.
The Jamaica Music Museum, when I got aware of it, it was already 7 years in making, but
Okay.
it had been stagnant. It had not gotten beyond the idea that it should become a division of the Institute of Jamaica. The Institute of Jamaica itself is over 140 years old, having been founded after the Paul Bogle Rebellion in Morant Bay by Governor Musgrave, hence the Musgrave Awards every year. And so my job there was to build the connection, if not in fact, work toward getting a building erected to house the collection. So the Institute of Jamaica is a part of the Ministry of Culture. And so between the Ministry of Culture and the Institute Jamaica, one day we should or will see that building. For now, it is housed in one of the galleries at the Institute of Jamaica, which is 10 to 16 East Street. The collection is quite impressive, including instruments that was donated from various individuals whose loved ones may have been musicians or were musicians, and also instruments donated by people like Earl China Smith, Sly Dunbar, Robbie Shakespeare, Lloyd Nib of the Scatolites, etc., that belong to eminent musicians, prominent musicians, world recognized musicians. So we have those kinds of things on show at the Institute of Jamaica in that gallery that houses the collection in which we show the collection. But in addition to that, we do a lot of cultural and educational outreach programs. We go into schools, into villages, into libraries, church halls, wherever people can gather across the island. We are there to educate them, entertain them. Our main our flagship program is called Ground Nation, and it takes that name from early Rastafari of the 40s who would come together in reasoning and their own rituals, which we know exactly what that is. But there was always the drumming and the talking about the affairs of the world, and especially taking place in Jamaica and Africa. So we have used that name for this program, and we are in our 12th year, as I said. And this year, the program is called Music and Reasoning in Working Class Culture, Implications for Governance and Constitutional Reform. So yesterday morning, a lady called me and said, how are you going to get constitutional reform and governance and Jamaica as a republic in a music program? So I had to say to her the very same way our foreparents got it involved in a program for freedom and emancipation. The same way Sam Sharp and Nanny were playing drums and singing songs. The same way Paul Bogle did that too. And in the 1938 labor riot, yes, they were singing onward Christian soldiers marches us to war. In the 1972 general elections, they were singing Better Must Come and Row the Boat Ashore Joshua. And then in the 1980s election, they were singing Turn Them Back. So now, can't we not sing and talk and discuss and reason about constitutional reform using culture?
Ah,
Because the truth is, most of us on the ground don't know what the Constitution entails, what it is, how it affects us. We never, ever, most of us, I would bet 95% of Jamaica, with the exception of some lawyers and constitutional scholars, never paid any attention to it. How does it affect us? And how can we get our voices in what this new constitution that we're debating is gonna affect us? Because if
that's
we don't get involved in getting our thoughts in there, then the political class is going to do it and it might not be what we want. And we'll wait another 60 years to reform again. But for the people out there, if the young people want to just go along with it and accept it, that's one thing. I think a forum like this, with music and all the cultural expressions, could draw young people to a better understanding and having fun at the same time.
and I strongly endorse that because we tend to segregate and separate, but the music is so entrenched in us, and you, if you want to get especially the younger generation to learn something, fuse it with music. And right, we don't need to be separating everything, and if that's the way you're going to get it across, because sometimes we wait on a specific sector to deal with, address certain matters, but it goes over the head of most of the average citizen. And so applaud the Jamaica Music Museum on that. Some very essential area there in terms of the constitutional reform. And there are so many different ways that we can actually engage and seek to shape what it is that's happening around us without waiting on a specific sector to address that. All right. Whilst Sir Miller take a sip of water, let me welcome those of you who joined after the official welcome earlier. So we're talking about reggae rhythms, the evolution of reggae music. And just in case you missed it, the live will be on YouTube, so you can watch it at any time. And go ahead and share the link with others so we can learn and grow. And Sir Miller will share a little more later on the upcoming activity at the Jamaica Music Museum. But let's continue talking about reggae music. All right, so we started talking about how it originated and the evolution. And what you shared just now makes a smooth transition into the next aspect of our discussion in terms of how it is that reggae music has helped to shape who we are as a people in terms of the cultural impact, not just here in Jamaica, but internationally, because it has an international impact as well. So share with us
Okay.
impact on the culture.
Well, in the 19th century, we had mento. And mento was a music informed by European quadrilles and African rhythms, played mainly, at campsites and wakes and so on, until the early 20th century, when it became more of a social music, social dance and parties, and a lot of consciousness in mental music as well. It wasn't just all about big bamboo and stuff like that. But mental musicians were singing about Hitler and Mussolini and international political situations and local political situations. Mental musicians did go on tours. Lord Flea, as a matter of fact, was a million selling artist on Capitol Records, drawing. He appeared in 2 Hollywood films as a mental musician. After Mento, we flirted around with what I'll call American jump blues or blues music. Clue J and the Blues Blasters, Rico Rodriguez, John Baker, these are some of the big names at that point. But singers like Laura Lakin, what's his name now? Derek Morgan, and so sang that style until ska sort of took it over. And the ska still reflected a lot of what the jump blues was. A lot of horns, good 4/4 rhythm with a ska riff, the ta, 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 at a very fast tempo. And out of that, you get people like Don Drummond and Roland Alphonse, Tommy McCook, the Scatolites, among so many other bands of the period. Carlos Malcolm's Afro Jamaica Rhythms, and there's a lot of dance music with heavy consciousness. Enter people like Prince Buster, Clancy Eccles, Derek Morgan, Owen Gray, all great ska singers, Alton Ellis. And in a short time, the music got a little slower, and we got Rocksteady. Rocksteady, you had people like the Heptones, the Paragons, the Soul Brothers playing instrumental music. Jackie Mittoo, the organist and pianist, featured heavily at that period. People like Av&nte, the Melodians. Of course, the Wailers came all the way from the ska period. And believe it or not, they even sang a few mentor sounding songs, especially if those led by Peter Tosh.
Mm.
Out of that, we still slowed it down a little more, but with much more melodic bass lines instead of the 4/4 rhythms. And you got those smooth reggae bass lines, people like Family Man Barrett, Jackie Jackson, the late Robbie Shakespeare, Fully Fullwood. These are all outstanding bass players. And of course, drummers like Santa Davis, Sly Dunbar, Carly, Barrett, among many others. It's about that time, 72, 73, that the Wheelers, well, first of all, before them, you have the movie called The Harder They Come with Jimmy Cliff as the lead, and a great reggae soundtrack. Toots and the Maytals, Scotty, Desmond Decker and the Aces, and of course, Jimmy Cliff. And that introduced the world to what reggae, how reggae, the life of reggae, the sort of environment that reggae came out of. That movie had a great was a great influence on how the world heard reggae. By just about that time, the Wailers got a recording deal with Chris Blackwell's Island Records, and the marketing behind it really tore it open. So by this time, again, people like Toots and the Maytals, among others of that period, were now touring and making records for foreign record companies. And I can't overstate the importance of Duke Reid, Coxsone, Sonia Pottinger, Beverly's, uh, among others. In Prince Buster played a great role because he was not only a producer, but he was singer of many different styles and singer of many different topics, from very conscious music to slackness. He had jukeboxes, sound systems. He had a great sound system, Prince Buster, the voice of the people. And there was Sir Coxson's Downbeat, Duke Reid the Trojan, King Edward the Giant, Lloyd the Matador. These were great sound systems. So from ska all the way up to reggae, these sound systems are public broadcast entities embedding in us the spirit of reggae. And by the time they started touring, college audiences, um, of course, we just in that hippie period when the alternative lifestyle was taking shape, and it appealed to that kind of audience, college educated, open minded whites across the world. And because many of the reggae musicians still embodied that sense of resistance and freedom, liberation ethic, all of the freedom struggles in South and Southwest Africa, wherever it was, throughout Africa, Asia, and Latin America, reggae musicians were using those instances, those experiences to shape their songs. Even the ska musicians playing strictly instrumental music had songs like with titles like Lumumba, Fidel Castro, President Kennedy, Chiang Kai shek. These are all noted, powerful world leaders. In the case of, say, Kennedy assassinated, so the same group, the Scatterlight, made songs about the person who assassinated him, Lee Harvey as well. So you see, they're using music or musicians and artists as a sort of historic narrative, a socio-political statement, not to mention how influenced they have been and continues to be by the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. Vernon Spears' whole conscious career is built on his advocacy, carrying Garvey's philosophies into this 21st century. But all the best of our musicians and artists have done that. You know, Don Drummond has a song called The Reburial of Marcus Garvey. So it's not anything new when you see this new crop of singers like Protege and Kabaka Pyramid, among others, Janine, trying to maintain that conscious, uplifting positivity about reggae. But the genre itself has become so wide that there's space for everything else in between. Just songs that are just there to entertain, Nothing of substance but a nice rhythm, and it makes you dance, and it's entertaining. But if you should look at the lyrics, many of them not really saying anything. But that's the nature of the art.
Indeed. Wow. I was in class just now. I don't know if we have any music students, or if your parent or grandparent or related to someone who wants to pursue a career in music. They ought to take a listen to that clip where Sir Miller just shared just now, a whole history of the different dynamics of reggae and how it has impacted our culture, us as a people, and not just us, but internationally. Sir Miller, we need to give you a lot more time so you could share,
Well,
but the
fine,
1 hour will
but
not allow that.
on
So,
one quick note, just
right.
look at Rastafari and reggae music. Reggae music took Rastafari to the world.
Yes.
Today, Rastafari in Jamaica is minuscule in comparison to some even islands in the Caribbean here. Not to mention in certain African countries, South Africa, for example. Of course, is a huge country in comparison to ours. But the
Yes.
depth and the conviction of Rastafari in these African cultures far outweigh ours in comparison to where we were, say, 30, 40 years ago, from 1940s to 1970s into the 80s, when a sort of multicultural sort of a thing, heavily influenced by North American lifestyles, the satellite dish, cable
Yes.
TV, cell phone, all of that. So in a way, if we're not careful, we are watering down our rich, strong culture.
Right. And that positions us for the transition into the next element of our discussion in terms of where we're going. Thank you for tuning in, Sir Bert Green, our president for the Clarendon Lay Magistrate Association. There's this awesome history. I can relate to most of it. Amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing. Yes, amazing. And as you mentioned, that it's not just Rastafarianism, because there are so many other countries who have embraced our culture even more
Yeah.
than us as Jamaicans. I came across a video on social media earlier this week where this Asian was actually going through an elaborate process to transition his hair to our kinky hair. And we want to straighten ours. It's just amazing how it is that others wants to look and sound like us, and we're doing everything that we can to
To not be
change.
us.
Oh, but that's just so amazing. Right. So what does the future of reggae look like from the Jamaica Music Museum's perspective, from where you sit?
When I listen to some of the younger musicians, especially coming out of out of Edna, and recently with the transformed and modern Alpha institution, I think musically we look good. Musicians are able to really play beyond what reggae or our own local forms are, and embracing a lot of other musics. So they make their livelihood playing reggae and touring with reggae musicians. But if you catch many of them, and there are many live sessions around Kingston every week, you'll find them playing some sort of alternative rock, some jazz, some fusion jazz, eh, some even into this avant-garde stuff. And music and culture is never static. It's always changing and taking on new shapes and forms and complexions. And I think that that in itself is a good thing. The roots can never die. And you're always gonna have the flabber holes and those musicians who just stick to the roots. But then you're gonna have a lot of younger ones sort of expanding it and taking it in different directions.
Indeed. Because we're talking about evolution, right? So we don't expect that it's going to stop with our generation. It's
No,
going to
not
continue
at
to
all.
evolve, right? And that's
And
that.
you know something? Let me
Yes.
just say this. I might not be so much into the current music, or I think we have gone beyond dancehall. I don't know what a new name is, and I know that people like my friend Sonia Naya and Donna Hope are into that kind of thing. So if you're ever able to grab them one of these days, they can tell you about trap and this and that and all kind of stuff that I've not yet gotten to. But I think the future holds well. I think there are a lot of intelligent lyricists um, performing. I think the scope is widening. Um, Identity is influencing that, and that's a whole other subject for another time because a lot of it can be controversial until some
Yes.
old fogies such as myself catch up on this new style of this new lifestyle. But I am seeing young artists expressing themselves, their identities through the music, something you didn't get as broad as that back in my time when we sang about boy and girl business. Now it's way beyond that.
Yes.
Um, what that will mean in the next 60 years, I don't know. Somebody asked me, so Herbie, so just today somebody asked, so Herbie, what do you think Bob Marley would be doing if he were around today? I don't know. He
Never
did what
know.
he did in his day,
Right.
among others, Dennis Brown, Tosh, Third World, Spear, etc. And their contribution is set.
That's right.
What will happen with in 60 years' time to this new crop? I know I won't be around to go. Some of you younger guys will be around and say, well, I remember one day Herbie came on, and if only he were here now, I wonder what he would think. In the 1940s, you see, the great Cole Porter, who has written so many classics, he wrote a song that goes something like this. In olden days, a glimpse of stocking was looked at as something shocking. Now, goodness knows anything goes. He has a
Anything.
line that said, men who knew better words are now using four-letter words, writing prose,
Mm.
among other things. In the 1940s, look what was
Team
acceptable,
yes.
a glimpse of stocking.
Compared
Today,
to what we're seeing now.
all right. Sometimes you close the eye and walk past and then open again and hope you don't trip.
Right. So
I
who
don't
knows
know.
what will happen
As I
later?
said earlier on,
Yes.
man, perhaps civilization is making a turnover and we're going right back to the primate, to the primitive. When we'll just walk with our families with a loincloth, if not less, who knows?
Who knows? But the important thing is that those who have gone on before, Bob Marley, Dennis Brown, and the others, they have set the foundation and
Yeah,
they are still influencing our musicians. They might not sound the same way because they're embracing their own unique identity and
right.
shaping the future as they go along. And this, I surmise that the same thing will happen to music for musicians that are to come.
Yeah.
So amazing.
I said this though, the Scatolites were a 1960 band. To, today, and ska came from Jamaica, came out of Jamaica. Today,
Right.
we do not have a ska band in Jamaica. There are over 2,000 cabans touring the world, recording, making great impact that people doesn't even relate it to Jamaica.
To Jamaica. Look at that.
You see?
Others
These
have
are
taken
important
on
notes.
the Jamaican identity solutions. Jan, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanking you for the history lessons, Miller. Amazing. I know that.
Well, I'm happy that at least some folks feel that it is important things that
Oh
we're talking
yes.
about, because
Oh
music
yes.
should not just be about it,
Right. It's
music itself. As
yes.
Marcus Garvey said, in everything we do, especially in the arts, we must do it for the uplift of our people. And that's what
That's right.
all of this ought to be doing.
That's right. And that's what SRC community is all about, empowering the people. And how do you empower the people? You inform them and make sure that they are connected with rich source of information like Sir Miller, who has been around for some time and
A little
was
time,
able
a
to
little
just
time.
really give us a rich history of reggae music just like that.
Speaking
Sounds
of
like if you wake him up at
information,
2 o'clock in the morning, he'll be able to recite all of what he just shared.
Winsome, speaking of information now, let me just give your listeners and viewers our reggae month information. And
Certainly, go right ahead.
like you, I tie it to Black History Month. Even
Yes,
though my Black History is every month, since this is the one designated in some quarters, I am going to use it.
that's right.
So our Ground Nation series, which is a 12-year-old program that I do at the Institute of Jamaica through the auspices of the Jamaica Music Museum, this year's topic is called, well, like I said, it's Ground Nation. But the topic takes on this whole idea of constitutional reform, music and reasoning in working class culture, implications for governance, and constitutional reform. So don't ask me what that is about. What I'm going to suggest is that all of you, starting Sunday the 4th, a couple of days from now, come down to the Institute of Jamaica, which is located at 10 to 16 East Street. Use the Tower Street entrance and come upstairs to our beautiful 300-seat theater. And we're going to discuss exactly what that is, music and reasoning in working class communities. It relates to constitutional reform, educating ourselves from the British monarchy, the Jamaica as a republic, and governance. So on Sunday at 2 p.m., every Sunday at 2 p.m. for the month of February, we're going to explore that topic. This Sunday, the subtopic is our 61-year independence journey, lessons for creating a Jamaican republic. And this Sunday, our moderator is George Davis from Nationwide Radio. And our panelists are Dr. Michael Witter, Professor Clinton Hutton, Earl Maxim. We all know Earl's wonderful journalism from RJR Radio, and Amina Blackwood Meeks from Edna. And we know Amina is a great storyteller and so on. The following week, and by the way, it's free to the public, and believe it or not, the food is quite good and you don't have to purchase it. The
Wow.
following week, we have reasoning with creatives in changing social and cultural expressions in changing times. The moderator is, of course, all of us favorite Muta Baruka. And the panelists are Kerry Ann Henry, who is a dancer at the NDTC and an instructor at the Edna. Um, uh, um, Andrea Dempster Chung, founder of Kingston Creative. So if you see all those beautiful signages and murals taking place downtown. She's a part of it. Of course, Ministry of Culture is involved in some of that too. Miguel Stepper Williams is a poet, he's a lecturer, he's involved in so many things. And young Jamila Falak is that beautiful young lady you see playing that upright bass and singing and modeling and dancing and poetry and environmental things and so on. The third Sunday is called Advocacy for Constitutional Change and Good Governance, the role of creatives in changing times. The moderator is another favorite of mine, Kabu from Running African on IRI FM. And now we're getting serious down to business. We have Professor Rosalie Hamilton, and we have Bert Samuels. He's a Pan-Africanist lawyer and talks all kind of strong talk. Daniel Archer is also an attorney and principal director of the National Integrity Commission. And Silburn Seidel, who does something like you do in some
Yes, Professor
online.
Silburn.
And,
Yes.
right. And finally, the last week, we have envisioning. What is it going to look like? A
Oh,
Jamaican Creative Republic. What does that look like? The moderator is another one of my favorites, Dion Jackson Miller.
oh,
We have a young, I say to her, and she said, no, Uncle Herbie, a young lady by the name of Sabrina Barnes. Watch out, future. Here she comes.
awesome.
She's head girl at the Carteret, chairperson of Jamaica Prefects Association, youth parliamentarian from Northwest Manchester, and a Jamaican youth advocate. That's only touching the surface. Awesome. Dr. Patricia Green is an architect, and she looks into the social, geographic um, development of and underdevelopment of countries. Andrea Davis is the executive director and founder of International Reggae Day. I think that's the 1st of July every year. It's going
Yes,
on for some 20 odd years. And it's important because Andrea has always used this kind of medium that you're using. And of course, there's Stephen Goulding, president of United Negro Association, UNIA, in the tradition of Marcus Messiah Garvey. So that's it. It's free to the
such
public.
an
If the people,
impressive lineup. Amazing. It's
I'm
fantastic.
going
All
to have to
right,
get
and be
you on
sure
one of them too. Yeah.
we will see about that. That would be awesome. I'll check for the schedule and see. All right, Sir Miller, thank you ever so much for sharing space with us, but don't go anywhere just in case any question comes up. All right, and
Okay.
as you mentioned earlier, that the future looks good based on the crop that's coming out of Edna and the other institution there.
Yeah.
We have Owayne Av&nte McCaulsky here with us. You're muted,
It's like it's
Av&nte.
muted.
Let me bring you on
Yeah,
while.
blessings. You hearing me now?
Yes, we're hearing you. Let me bring you on while Professor Miller is on screen and giving him the professor title.
Okay, yes. All right. So first, let me apologize for the background. I was trying to get a studio, but apparently work is going on at the moment, so I had to improvise. You
All
know?
right. You're looking nice and clear, and we're hearing you clearly. So that's the important thing. And I'm sure the
All right.
viewers want to know more about Avante and how Avante fits into the whole dynamics of the evolution of reggae. But before we get there, do you
Well,
have a question for Sir Miller?
all right. So, Avan, any question for Sir Miller? The first question is how credible is the book that is called Reggae Roots?
You're
Is it a
talking
good?
about
We're not hearing it clearly. Remove your hand. Yeah,
You hearing me now?
right.
who's the author of that book? Is
I
that Win
think
Chin and Chong?
it's a Chinese name. I don't remember
All
the
right,
name.
that's Chen and Chong. It's a very good place to start because Kevin O'Brien, Chang, and Wayne the two Chinaman name mix me up. Anyway, Kevin and Wayne have this book is out what perhaps around 20 years now, and it's solid, well researched, well presented in easy language to read, and it gives you a step by step into the point that they ended maybe around the being a man period.
Yeah.
Uh, but it picks up from, again, Jamaica plantation times. Short chapters at the beginning, but in the long run, a solid book. It gives you a hit parade, it gives you that kind of data of the years, the early years of the teenage dance party, the every Friday evening when we dashed home from school to get the hit parade to see which was the top 10 songs and stuff like that. So I recommend it. In fact, I use it in whenever I'm teaching, I generally use it because easy to read for students.
Yeah, I'm also a teacher and I use that book. That's why I asked about it. I
And
teach
I
in the
endorse
primary and prep schools.
it.
There's also this book called Rock and Come I think, by Olive Lewin. It's a very good book.
Essential reading. We put that on our book list and say to our students, that's essential reading. Olive Lewin, there are some words I don't use because they're overused. Words like genius and icon and so on. I'm not going to use those to talk about the great Miss Olive Lewin, except to say she's one of our teachers, pioneers, influences, etc. And her work is at the very foundation of what I spoke about a while ago and who you are today as a young um, finalist in the festival song, because what she did with that book, with her research, her work, the singers, is precisely what was done by our foreparents when we got that little chance to come out of the plantation, out of the sun, and congregate under the little trees, cook the pot of food, call the children around, and let them sing and clap and do the ring dance and teach them things through the ring dance and the ring songs that made them the kind of person that I have turned out to be. And don't forget Miss Marjorie Wiley also in that tradition.
Yeah, Marjorie.
All right, happy for that little exchange there. It's always great to see this happening, and we need to have more of this, where the older ones teach the younger ones, so that we can strengthen and what it is that we're doing and the affirmation there. How did that feel, Avante? In,
Yeah, it feels really good. It shows me that I am on the right track as a music teacher. I am hitting the right notes.
Amazing. All right, fantastic. And I mean, if you didn't get anything else this evening, I'm sure that would be icing. But we still have to let the viewers know who Avante is outside of being top 10 finalists in the JCDC Gospel Music. Just a little research that I did. Avante, well, at the time he was Owayne McCaulsky, the lead singer on All Together Sing for Oberlin High School, right? And then he went on to Edna Manley. Hold on, I almost say high school. Edna Manley College of the Performing Arts. Is that the correct name?
Yeah, visual and performing arts.
And Performing Arts. Right. Tell us a little bit more about Owain McCaulsky. What you went on to do after Edna, leading up to JCDC Gospel
Well,
Arts.
after Edna Manley, what I did was when I was about in third year, that was about 2016, I decided that I'm going to launch out as an artist because at the time I will be graduating next year and I don't want to start my career after graduation. Music is a game where you have to put in like about 3 years of consistent work before you see any results for the work. So I did a song entitled Missing Your Love. I did a video. I put it out February. By October, I put out another song entitled "If Loving You Is Wrong," and they were getting some traction. People know them, people vibe to them, people love them. And then people started saying the songs are too one drop is only reggae. Person saying you need to try doing this kind of song like Friends, Close Friends. So I took the initiative and started doing dancehall because I always tell people that Av&nte is an acronym that means a versatile and naturally talented entertainer. However, I always seem to do only reggae. So I started doing dancehall. I started doing a lot of different things, festival song kind of sounding songs outside of the reggae and try different things to show that Avante is actually a versatile and naturally talented entertainer like the acronym says, you know?
Awesome. So how has the evolution of reggae influenced your sound? Because you write your own songs, right?
Yes, I do.
Right. How has the evolution of reggae influenced how you write and all of that?
Well, the evolution of reggae influenced how I write because I remember back in the days I was told by a teacher, Michael Dyke, when I was going to Edna Manley that after independence, the music was happy. Scam music, it's fast. But when it touched times like about the 70s into the 1980s election, that's when Rocksteady was pivotal, you know? And reggae came about because of what was happening in Jamaica at the time. So I have an understanding that the music really and truly influence the culture and what happens in society. So as a result of that, I don't sing songs knowing the evolution of reggae and how it ties into society and what happens. Music is highly influenced. People are highly influenced by what these artists say. So as a result of that, I don't do songs that have profanity. I don't do songs that I think will lead people to do wrong, you know,
Amazing.
because of the knowledge that I have about the evolution and how far reggae is coming from, as well as how it ties into our influence, what happens in society.
Right. But I suppose that not all artists have had the opportunity of being schooled in the whole education of what reggae is and how it influences the culture and all of that. So that's why we have others who might not consider some of these things. Because what I remember about reggae is that it's very deep. When you listen to a reggae song, you connect with it on a different level because you just pause and to think about what the artist is actually saying and how it relates to the culture. But what we're hearing now in some avenues, not much to think about. All right, but that being said, and the important role that you have to play as an educator, I'm happy that you view your craft in that light because it would be really devastating if, as an educator, you were off making music that could negatively impact those that you're supposed to be positively influencing. So kudos.
Yeah, and that's another thing as well. I always, even if I should break the rules sometime and do a song that it doesn't have profanity, but the context, anyone with sense can tell that the context in which this is said. You know, like Max Romeo would do some kind of songs, or Stanley and the Turbines, they do some kind of songs that is basically drama, you know,
Right.
but the context in which it is being said, it's not, for example, they substitute the raw word with another word that adds a dramatic element to the music, you know. I tend to do that a lot. And when I do it, sometimes I feel guilty. I feel like, what if any of these grade six students understand what I am saying? How would I feel as a teacher if they should approach me? Because my students always approach me. They say, sir, we see you on TV, sir, this, sir, that, any little thing they approach me. I don't want them to approach me and say, like I did a song named Shua and Rasta. I wouldn't like a student to approach me and ask me, what exactly are you saying in that song? Can you explain? I don't know how I would explain. I would just have to tell them that it's just how the music is. I really don't know how I would explain to that
All right,
child.
you're
But
gonna have to think of an explanation now, because this is out there.
it's out there, but it's not that. That's why I don't use profanity, you know? The parents
Right.
will just laugh when they hear the song.
Yeah. That's a good
That
opportunity
interesting
to
point to advise the
actually
people.
educate, and the conversation. It's important to have those conversations with the students. It's another avenue of teaching and learning, that exchange. Right. Go ahead, Sir Miller. You're
Yes, it's an interesting point there,
yes.
Avante, because as a youth growing up, a lot of calypso songs were played on the ear. And I remember this one song called anyway, it's a song about a man and a woman fighting. And as far as I'm concerned, it was just a man and a woman fighting. Oh, it's a lucky thing, Miss Jane and her boyfriend catch a fight. And it's almost every night Jane and her boyfriend fight. And then they start describe the fight, and when you fight and you roll and one on top, one underneath, and you knock out your friend. And as far as me concerned, just a man and a woman a fight. You get to a certain stage and you say, oh, and there are so many songs like that. But today I'll go
Yeah,
to the market now and I hear the same song in today's language.
Very explicit.
And you stick your finger in your ears and you hurry up and move from there.
yeah,
It's dread. Now another song, Winsome, another observation you picked up on and elaborated on, as Avante was saying, is what I term the sensuality of reggae music. So
Yes.
tell me how many music you can find in the one song, the one tune, over and over in every tune that goes to your head, whether philosophically
Yes.
or religiously. You're praising Rastafari, but at the same time, you hug your girl on the bass line, doogie, 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 doo, and you do the pelvic move to the bass line. And so many things going on that contradicts the other thing,
That's
all
right.
in the one song. That's
All
the
in the one
power
song.
of reggae, man. It sing about revolution, love Jah, love your girl, etc., etc.
Very
So,
dynamic.
so it's really a powerful little music, a big music, but
Indeed. Avante, you came to class.
no man,
I
yeah.
learned
And I was scrolling on social media today, and I realized that in 2018, I think Jamaica was inscribed as one of UNESCO's what is it, global
creative spirit
tangible.
of the world.
It's like a tangible heritage. I
Yeah.
mean, I remember what exactly it
All right,
was
let me
saying,
ask
but
you.
it's some.
UNESCO, the Jamaica, the inscription is about Kingston as a creative city in
oh,
the world. And a second one we got from UNESCO is reggae as an indigenous form out of Jamaica. No other place but Jamaica. That's the two that of the UNESCO thing in terms of music. There are others like John Crow Mountain, and I think we just applied to get uh, uh, one of the ritual forms. It might be revival or one of them kind of stuff.
all right. I love the connection that's going on here. It makes the resource connector comes alive, come alive.
Hey, Winsome, let me tell you this, we have to pass it on.
Oh yes, and
And
that's
we
it.
give
Yeah,
it pass and it's gone.
That's it.
So we have to
That is
pass
it.
it on. So when I meet a youth like this now, who so enthused
Oh
about being a
man,
teacher
right.
and a performer, and ask me questions. 'Cause most you know everything and do asking other old boy they come from all time business, but you know. But here's a youth now ask about two book. Thank goodness me don't know about them and can say.
All
How many
right.
youth ask about a book? A youth will more say, boy, you know, the children name, blah, blah, blah. This brethren come and ask me about Olive with the Wayne's book,
Very
Rock
deep,
and
right?
Come and Wayne them book, Wayne and Kevin's book, Reggae
That.
Roots.
All
You
right.
know.
Solution Giants, you were trying to remember. Is it Wayne Chen that you were trying
Yes,
to
man,
remember?
yeah. Wayne Chen
Wayne
and
Chen,
Kevin
Kevin
O'Brien,
O'Brien,
son.
Chung.
There you
Right.
go. Chong.
All right. So we are over the 1 hour mark, but this is just so amazing. All right, Solutions Giant, your reggae vibes are pure magic. Keep creating those soul soothing music. The world needs more of your positive energy. I suppose that's for you, Avante.
Of course.
So you are getting a
Yeah,
lot of flowers in Culture Corner.
yeah.
Amazing. All right, fantastic. So there you have someone who in tune to your song. So we haven't talked a lot about what you have been doing. You've been on some headline show locally and internationally, and I'm sure others will go check you out. What's the handle that they can find you at so that they can learn more about what it is that you're doing? Where can they find you on social media, Avante?
Is he
Well,
finish?
on YouTube it's Avante AV. On YouTube it's AV, the and symbol NTE, as you are seeing on the screen, first and last name, NTE.
All
On
right.
Facebook it's AV, the and symbol NTE, just the same. On TikTok it's AV, the and symbol NTE. And those are the ones that I use the most. I have Twitter, but I don't remember it because I hardly use that one. Too much drama on that side.
All right.
All right. So we are going to close out with what can we expect from Avante for 2024?
Well, for 2024, the highlight of 2024 will be my debut project. It's a 7 track EP entitled Above Average, to be released the day after my birthday, August 16th, 2024. I will have an album launch on the 15th, my actual birthday. The second, sorry, separate and apart from the EP, I have another festival song. I entered it on Monday. It's entitled Heart for Jamaica. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed, hoping that it will make the top 10 this year again. And hoping that it will win, as a matter of fact.
That's the spirit. All right. Love to hear it. And congratulations in advance on the launch. As you, and happy birthday when it comes. Very happy, early
Uh,
happy birthday.
yeah, this is the earliest birthday greet ever.
Oh yes. Set the pace for
All
those to
right.
come. All right.
Yeah.
All right. On the JCDC front, we have a lot going on for this month, for Reggae Month. So you want to check out the JCDC page. A lot of highlights on the different reggae icons. So check out the activities that's going on, streaming on different platforms throughout the month. And we also have the Festival Queen, one of my babies. Festival Queen competition now accepting 2024 entries for the parish competition. So send out the information in your community groups. Get those young ladies to go out and rep for their culture. It's about the complete woman. As Avante came on here as a king and he asked some kingly questions because it's about the full persona and not just about one dimensional aspect of who we are as a people. And that's part of what reggae represents for me as a Jamaican, right? It's not about getting into the details as to the wordings and all of that behind reggae, but what the music overall has meant to us as a people, how it has helped to shape us as individuals, And it's been, I think, the reggae in general, as Avante has shared, he has sought to make it connect and thinking about the implication for those that he serves as an educator and as an individual. All right, Avante, big up again on the positive energy that you continue to share. All right, you have one
Yes.
final thought?
Go again.
Do you have a final thought that you want to share with us?
Yeah, the final thought that I want to share is persons on the live. I want you to check out my latest single coming next week, Friday. You can
Oh,
just go on my YouTube handle and set it as a reminder. It's entitled Darkest Time, where I basically speak about my life growing up and basically how it feels being alone. Because each time I have a problem, I am the only person, only me and God alone. This, but when other persons have problem, they see me. So we basically write a song saying everything. I'm just venting, but at the same time giving persons a brief synopsis of my life growing up and why I am how I am at the moment. It's entitled Darkest Time. It will be available for streaming on the 9th of February on all streaming platforms.
all right. My YouTube notification is set, so I others can go ahead and set theirs. And it's much more, can I tell you, it's much more than that, Avante? Because what will happen is that there are individuals who might be experiencing some of the same things that you're going to share that you went through and will be inspired by the fact that you are still here and you have reached the point where you're now able to share your story. So it means that there's hope for them,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
All
Yes.
right. Fantastic. All right. And with all the sharing, for those who have been on the SRC journey since we started in 2021, if you notice, we have a brand new look, SRC new logo, and there are a lot of new things that are going to be coming up. All right. The Serenity Resource Connector website is live. We are still working, so you can join us over there as we put the finishing touches on the website to see how it all comes together as we fuse everything and expand what it is that we offer through Serenity Resource Connector. And let me thank you for helping to make this happen. Our sponsors who came on at the initial stage when this was just a little idea and we didn't know where it was going. Big up to Cousins Construction Services, Shagor Aggregates, Uncle Billy over there in Clarendon, and the National Self-Serve Wholesale who have helped to make this all possible. The sponsors who came on board for our expo, Area 3 Police and Stakeholders Expo in November 2023. Your support has helped to make this happen, and we continue to grow as a brand as we continue to on our mission to empower Jamaicans in general, not just local, but in the diaspora. So let me thank you once again and stay tuned for the official launch of the. All right, Avante, we had a music to play, but we're going to make sure that everybody remember to subscribe to Avante's channel so you can see all the recordings that he has done, and you can also check out the upcoming live that he has. All right. Thank you so much again, Sir Miller, for the history lesson on reggae. Avante, thank you both for sharing space with me here on Culture Corner for February 2024. What a way to get started! Amazing. We do Culture Corner every first Thursday, and we continue second Thursday looking at community safety and security with the JCF Area 3 team. We do community corner. You never know what you're gonna see coming on community corner. We look at different things that to uplift the community, share inspiring stories, and share resources in the space. For Thursday's local governance, hoping that the municipal corporation team will settle down by is in the midst of the election season. So we'll see what happens. And then we close out. We have a fifth Thursday. So our youth leaders are going to be in the space on fifth Thursday as we give them a space to highlight what it is that they're doing and how we can assist them in getting it done. Thank you so much again for live
Thank you
viewers and
so much,
those who will be
Winsome.
watching the broadcast. My pleasure.
And
All
Av&nte, keep up the strong, positive work, my dear.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Mm.
thank you very much. And we'll meet in person very soon,
That's
Mr.
right.
Miller. I plan
Absolutely.
to visit one of those.
Please do.
That's right.
And
Yes,
bring
sir.
some of the students if you can get them out.
Yeah, I
Amazing.
will do. I will
We're
try.
trying to get the youth link. And a young man like you teaching and so on, I'm sure you can assist. Win some gifts,
Yeah.
thanks, sister.
Give
Keep up the
thanks
good work.
every time. Thank you so much.
Love.
All right. Have a
Well,
fantastic
yeah.
one. All right.